An estimated 1,530,000 people killed or wounded. These are the astonishing figures from the Battle of Stalingrad, often regarded as the bloodiest in history. The World War II battle between the German Axis forces and Soviet Russia over the city now known as Volgograd lasted from the 21st of August 1942 to the 2nd of February 1943, making it at 199 days the largest single battle in history. The siege of Stalingrad was part of Fall Blau, part of Hitler's grand plan to secure the Eastern Front. Like Operation Barbarossa, it was doomed to failure and is considered to have been a major turning point in the Second World War. Strategically and symbolically, Stalingrad was an important target for Hitler, who ignored advice from his generals in order to attack the city named after his great foe, Joseph Stalin. The battle began with heavy bombing by the German Luftwaffe, before ground forces moved into the city, at one point securing up to 90% of it. The fighting was long, arduous, and with no regard for civilian life. Captured areas changed hands over and over again, and snipers reigned supreme in the shelled-out buildings. As winter approached, the Russians benefited. The frozen Volga River made it easier for them to get supplies through, while the Germans found themselves cut off, starving, and eventually simply freezing to death. The turnaround came on the 19th of November 1942, when the Russians put Operation Uranus into action. Its main objective was to push through the weaker outlying Axis flanks, which mostly consisted of outnumbered and poorly equipped Romanian infantry. The next day, Soviet forces moved west in a pincer movement, meeting 2 days later near Kalak and sealing a ring around Stalingrad. The Russians wanted to film this decisive moment for propaganda, but had no cameras available and had to restage the events later. The Germans retaliated with Operation Wintergewitter, but as the severe Russian winter set in, the German forces were soon dying in their thousands. By the new year, the Germans could hold out no longer, and on the 31st of January, Friedrich Paulus surrendered to Soviet forces, just a day after being promoted to General Feldmarschall by Adolf Hitler. This is runway 24 at the International Airport in Manchester, England. On the 22nd of August 1985, a British AIRTOURS Boeing 737, designated Flight 28M, was on the runway in its takeoff phase. It was heading for KERKIRA Airport on the Greek island of Corfu. The plane, which had been renamed from Goldfinch to River ORRIN, had 131 passengers on board, along with 6 crew. As the plane was taxiing along, the pilot heard a bang, and thinking there was a punctured tyre, he followed procedure, braking slowly and activating the thrust reversers. Unfortunately, it later became clear that this action exacerbated the true problem, which was a fire in the number 1 engine. The pilot's actions, heading the plane into a prevailing wind, only served to fan the flames further. Within no time at all, the blaze was raging through the cabin, fed by fuel spilling from the port wing. The toxic smoke killed 48 of the 55 people who died in the accident, with the others succumbing to the heat and flames. 78 passengers and 4 crew managed to escape via the passenger chutes and flight deck escape webbing, although 15 of them were seriously injured. After the accident, an inquiry found that thermal fatigue had caused a crack in the combustor can on the port engine. It was also revealed that the combustor had cracked before and that the welding to repair it had not been satisfactory. The accident also led to calls for increased safety measures. It was noted that the last passenger to escape took over 5 minutes to exit the aircraft. Better floor lighting and improved seating arrangements were demanded to combat this. Considering the number of deaths from smoke inhalation, there were also suggestions that aeroplanes should carry smoke hoods, but the United Kingdom Civil Aviation Authority deemed this idea impractical. Another idea of installing sprinkler-like misting systems was also vetoed as too expensive.